No, I'm talking about snitch.
So today I would like to talk about why juveniles shouldn't be tried as adults. On Saturday, May 31st, 2014, in Waukesha, Wisconsin, two 20-year-old girls allegedly lured another girl of the same age into the woods and stabbed her 19 times. The two girls believed that a fictional character named Slenderman was real and to be his proxy of followers and to protect their families from being harmed by this fictional character, they had to kill their friend. Thankfully, the victim survived, and the girls have been charged with attempted first intentional homicide. Wisconsin law states all murder and attempted murder charges for children older than 10 starts in adult court. The girls are facing an adult sentence of 45 years in prison, and this story is the reason why these juveniles and all other juveniles should not be tried as adults due to the fact they are not mature enough, less chance of safety in adult prison, and less chance of rehabilitation program. First reason why juveniles should be tried as adults is because they lack maturity. Reported by the ABC News in 2016, majority youths are more likely to show a lack of maturity and an undeveloped sense of responsibility than adults. These qualities often result in impetuous and ill-considered actions and decisions. Juveniles are more vulnerable to negative influences and outside pressure, including peer pressure, causing them to have less control over their environment. Experts say that even at 16 and 17, when compared to adults, juveniles on the average are more impulsive, aggressive, emotionally volatile, likely to take risks, reactive to stress, vulnerable to peer pressure, and likely to overlook alternative courses of action. Juveniles can control their impulses as well as adults. Second reason why juveniles should not be tried as adults is because it's not safe in adult prison. Teens in adult prison face the highest risk of sexual assault. They are also often not mentally prepared for adult prison and leave with a host of psychiatric problems, or sometimes they don't leave at all. This abuse often begins immediately within the first 48 hours of a juvenile's entry into an adult facility. Sexual abuse can lead to major depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, and increased tendencies toward criminal behavior and substance abuse in juveniles. Study shows that young people in the adult criminal justice system face 34% more rearrests than those kept in the youth justice system. In fact, 80% of youths released from adult prison go on to commit more crimes. Youth are 36 times more likely to commit suicide in the adult facility than in the juvenile home. And these are facts from the Emory Law Journal. And now I have a quick video to show you.
They're not old enough to drive, drink, or vote, but in America, kids as young as 7 years old can be tried as adults.
When you hold the youth accountable, the same
Authorities in western Pennsylvania have charged 11-year-old Jordan Brown as an adult.
The boys will have one trial together in adult court.
The length of his sentence is also the length of his life.
They're not old enough to drive, drink, or vote, but in America, kids as young as 7 years old can be tried as adults.
When you hold a youth accountable the same manner and fashion in which you hold an adult, it's just not right and it's not fair.
Michael Kemp knows what it's like to be a kid locked up in an adult prison.
You never know what one of them adults might do to you, so you just be feeling like, man, what's going to happen to me?
He was locked up for the first time when he was 12 years old here at Oak Hill Juvenile Correctional Facility.
Oak Hill wasn't, in my eyes, it wasn't designed to rehabilitate you. It was designed for punishment. You know, having barbed wires around the gate and just preparing you for a more criminal type of lifestyle.
Like most kids that serve time as a juvenile in the U.S., he got into trouble again. At 17, he was charged with armed robbery as an adult. He says for a kid, being in an adult prison is a constant struggle to survive.
They know how it is when you come off the bus and know that you don't have anything or know that you're just far away from home, so they pull you in. But in reality, they trying to get a favor out of you for a sexual act, you know, and then you get victimized or raped, you know, and then you become someone's person.
He was spared from sexual abuse, but many kids aren't so lucky. In fact, 1 in 5 victims of sexual violence in jails and prisons are under the age of 18. Youth and adult facilities are 36 times more likely to commit suicide than those in the juvenile system. On any given day in America, 10,000 children are held in adult jails and prisons. Most of them have never been convicted of a crime. And kids are fair game for solitary confinement. Kemp says for 5 months, he spent 23 and a half hours per day locked up alone.
I could have went crazy in that cell for that long and just holding someone in the cell with nothing to do for that long.
Critics slam the practice of putting kids in adult jails as cruel and unusual punishment.
They are less capable of understanding the consequences of their behavior. Their development is incomplete.
And that's why the Supreme Court struck down the death penalty for juveniles in 2005. But today, the United States is the only country that sentences kids to life without parole.
It was viewed as a substitute to the ultimate penalty.
There are now 2,500 inmates that were sentenced to die in jail as children.
This is a peculiarly American phenomenon in which we tend to believe that the harsher the penalties, the greater the public safety payoff.
Kids should instead be rehabilitated, says Lubau. That's the focus at Washington, D.C.'s newly opened New Beginnings.
Now, walking into a classroom at New Beginnings is much different from walking into a classroom at other juvenile detention facilities. Now, this is considered to be a model facility. It's a system based on rewards rather than punishment. And experts say that this system is much more effective at rehabilitating youth to become productive members of society. But unfortunately, places like this in the U.S. are rare.
Here, kids are given a second chance, but in most prisons throughout the country remain America's forgotten children. Hope for the future gone at an early age. In Washington, Liz Wall, RT.
So lastly, why children should be tried as adults is because of less chance of rehabilitation programs. Here's a quote from Lawrence Steinberg, who is a psychology professor at Temple University. It makes sense to try and rehabilitate young offenders in the juvenile justice system. That's better than sending them through the adult system, which can disrupt their development so severely that they're never going to be able to be a productive member of society. They're not doing society any favor at all. Most experts conclude that rehabilitation works better for juveniles than for adult offenders. Sentencing teens as adults can greatly minimize the possibility of making redemption real in their lives, and it puts a major stumbling block on the road to becoming productive members of society. So in conclusion, although these young juveniles commit major crimes like the juveniles did in the Slenderman case, they shouldn't be held in a facility with adults. And if it's against the law for children to vote, drink, or smoke, etc., it should be against the law for them to be tried as adults. Thank you.